Welcome back to the show. This is Talk. We are the home of common sense. It's 2 minutes past 12. We are going to go straight to PMQs just a few moments. But as you will have heard in the news, that News UK, the parent company of this station, Talk, has made the following statement. Their statement reads as follows. We were made aware of an abhorrent and vile post on Mike Graham's social platform several weeks ago. Mike Graham said this was not posted by him, and he agreed to cooperate with a company investigation using an independent forensic firm. He later reneged on several opportunities to cooperate with the company investigation. We have been gravely concerned at his repeated failure to cooperate on such a serious matter, and the decision has been taken that Mike Graham will not return to Talk. I'm afraid that is as much as I can say on that matter. I know that is going to cause a lot of upset and a lot of concern for a lot of our audience who've been with us for a very, very long time. But that is the official statement from the parent company of Talk, and that is where we are at in terms of Mike Graham, who will not be returning to this station. Let me introduce you to my guests in the studio. Claire Pistol is the former Conservative government advisor. She's been with me.
What just happened on Talk TV is nothing short of explosive. Julia Hartley-Brewer's on-air announcement that Mike Graham has been sacked marks the end of an era, and perhaps the beginning of something much bigger. In a 1-minute, 24-second statement, she didn't just close a chapter in Graham's broadcasting career. She effectively signaled the collapse of yet another mainstream media MSM pillar. Brutal, absolutely. But also inevitable. Graham, love him or hate him, represented the last of that unapologetically confrontational working-class broadcasting energy that the sanitized corporate media world could never fully control. His exit exposes the deep cracks inside Mizzen institutions that are increasingly allergic to controversy, authenticity, and dissent. The establishment media has been purging voices that don't conform, and Mike Graham just became the latest casualty. Yet the irony is, this sacking might be the best thing that's ever happened to him. In today's media landscape, independent platforms thrive on the very rawness that corporate studios reject. Audiences are hungry for unfiltered voices, not pre-approved script. So yes, this may be the end of Mike Graham's MISM career, but it's likely the start of a far more influential one. If history is any guide, figures like him don't fade. They re-emerge stronger, freer, and louder in the independent space. And judging by the online reaction already exploding across social media, the establishment may have just created their own biggest rival.
In 24 Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Moon, we've got our panel here, Mike Parry and the former Labour MP Stephen Pound. Not going very well for your lot, Stephen, is it? Number 10 briefing, the Times and the Guardian, that there's a plot against the Prime Minister. It could be as soon as come to fruition after the budget. Being led by the Secretary of State for Health, no less.
Well, hang on a second, Andrew. A couple of things. First of all, these off-the-record briefings, sometimes they don't even exist. We just.
Do you think these two papers have made this story up?
No, because they're not quoting, they're not naming who the source is.
Well, of course they don't. Of course they don't name the source. You've been around in politics long enough to know that's the way it works.
Yeah, but you can make anything. But the other thing is,
West Streeting has said he's been neat.
That's a different matter.
By number 10.
In the entire history of the Labour Party, no Labour leader has ever been thrown under a bus.
Oh no, but there's always time for a first. Well, believe me.
Can I just take you back to 2007? Tony Blair resigned because he was forced out by a coup.
No, because he had agreed a deal with Gordon Brown.
There'd been a coup by Tom Watson.
Tom Watson and the Curry House plot.
And he knew his time was up, so he was forced out, the most successful leader you've ever had.
And the civil service were going to stop working with him if he didn't walk out of the chamber that day.
He'd been a Prime Minister for 10 years.
Yes, exactly.
That's the difference.
Exactly.
He's been Prime Minister for 5 minutes.
Talk about out of control now, this government. I don't think it's coincidence that this Downing Street plot emerged last night, just as they knew. All the papers this morning would be talking about the number of people out of work, you know, going higher and higher and higher, and 4 million of them, 4 million people out of work are claiming benefits without having to look for a job. That's the number of people in Birmingham, Liverpool and Wolverhampton. Imagine that.
Mike,
Don't have to have
Mike,
a job.
I've sat opposite you for many, many months, and you've been talking about...
And you've learned nothing.
Cutting the civil service, cutting the bureaucrats, cutting all the... And so now this is actually happening. The integrated care boards, West Streeting, is actually reducing the workforce. Now, obviously, you can actually, on the one hand, you can say that is cutting bureaucracy. On the other hand, you can say it's
never mind the bureaucracy.
Increasing unemployment.
Never mind bureaucracy. What about the people out of work? Don't you know that Rachel Reeves is economically illiterate, and she's putting people onto the dole at the rate of 100,000 a month?
You cannot talk about slashing the public sector on the one hand.
She's not slashing the public sector.
I'm talking about you.
Really, she was.
Yeah, she's increasing the public sector. There's 66,000 more civil servants in this country since they came to power.
There's people out there haven't had their lunch yet, you know. Come on.
Well, I'm sorry, they'll have to get used to it.
The problem here that we started off with a welfare state that was there as a safety net for people when they've fallen on hard times.
Indeed.
And now basically it's become a universal basic income for anyone who doesn't particularly want to work.
And a way of life.
100%. Don't forget, the
way of life.
The Beveridge report wasn't just about health. It was also about idleness. That was, do you remember the five giants?
Yes.
You know, one of them was idleness. So he also said that with the NHS, you wouldn't actually need an NHS after 10 or 15 years. Look, I entirely agree. And partly, it's, you know, you may expect me to say this, it's Margaret Thatcher back in the 80s. You remember she said, wanted to reduce the unemployment by putting people on sickness benefits.
That's his fault. Stephen, economic illiteracy means the Chancellor doesn't realise if you put a tax on a job, that job is in danger of disappearing. I've got mates who run businesses who've had to lay people off, who cannot expand, and who are worried that they'll last another year because they can't make any money. Pubs are closing down because of it. The minimum wage has gone up, which means
pubs are closing down because of the drink driving law, because of the smoking ban, and 100 other things.
What a load of rubbish.
You can now buy beer down the supermarket.
The minimum wage
increase.
The minimum wage increase means people are coming out of university, young people, straight onto the dole.
Since the last budget, Stephen, which raised national insurance for employers, which means publicans, which meant they had to charge their bar staff more or get rid of bar staff. The hospitality industry has lost 89,000 jobs. That is a direct consequence of Reeves' budget.
498 pubs have closed in the last 12 months, right?
Well,
it's happening every day.
So Wetherspoons are opening new pubs. They're opening new pubs every week.
Yes, but most pubs are closing. Wetherspoons are only doing it because they can do it on the number of pubs they've got, mass economics.
So isn't that the answer then?
No. Well, you can't...
It's market forces, mate.
It's not market forces. It's that they're operating on tiny profits, can only do it on scale. But small pubs can't survive.
Pubs, don't you want lovely, nice little village pubs anymore, Mike?
Stephen. Let's not diss spoons. Come on.
Steve, if you were swimming, you'd be drowning by now, mate. You're drowning.
All these issues are related. The tax on pubs and the tax on beer is so high because the welfare state is so big.
And every time somebody loses their job, Rachel Reeves needs more money to pay them their welfare benefits. It is a doom loop. And once again, I have to say, Rachel Reeves is economically illiterate if she can't see the terrible mess she's making of the economy in this country. I could do better. I got economics O level. I know more about the economy than Rachel Reeves.